Chapter 6. Product and Technology, from Concept to Implementation. We've already established that even the most brilliant idea, backed by thorough market analysis and a clear financial plan, remains just an idea without its implementation. This is where the magic begins, transforming a concept into a real product. To build something meaningful and sustainable, you need the right methods and processes. In the startup world, time is money, and the ability to change quickly is key to survival. Traditional, cumbersome development approaches, where a plan is written a year in advance and doesn't change under any circumstances, simply don't work for startups. That's why Agile methodologies dominate the U.S. startup world. A kind of adaptive GPS navigator that allows you to constantly adjust your route based on road conditions and feedback. Product development, methodologies and processes. Agile. Flexibility as a superpower. Agile isn't just a set of rules, it's an entire philosophy of product creation. Its essence is that development should be iterative, repetitive, incremental, gradually building functionality, and, most importantly, customer-centric. Instead of planning everything from start to finish and then working for months on a perfect product, Agile suggests releasing small but complete pieces of the product, gathering feedback, and quickly adapting. Key Agile principles are simple but very powerful. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. The main thing is for your team to communicate and work together effectively. Working software over comprehensive documentation. Investors and clients won't buy beautiful documents. They'll buy something that actually works. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Constant dialogue with your users is your best friend and most reliable source of information. Responding to change over following a plan. The world changes, and your product must be ready to change with it. Agile is an umbrella term under which many specific frameworks and methodologies exist. The most popular ones in startups are Scrum and Kanban. Scrum, a team in motion. Scrum is the most popular framework for implementing Agile. It focuses on working in short, fixed time frames called sprints. How Scrum works in startups. Product backlog. This is a complete list of all features, improvements, fixes, and ideas for your product. The product owner is responsible for it. The person who ensures the product brings maximum value to the customer. Think of it as a shopping list, but for product features. Sprint planning. At the beginning of each sprint, usually 1 to 4 weeks, the team selects the highest priority tasks from the product backlog that they can complete during that sprint. These tasks form the sprint backlog. Sprint. This is the time interval itself during which the team works on the selected tasks. Tasks do not change during the sprint, which allows the team to focus. Daily Scrum. Stand-up. Every morning, or at another fixed time, the team gathers for a short meeting, maximum 15 minutes, standing. Everyone answers 3 questions. What did I do yesterday? What will I do today? Logically, what obstacles do I have? This helps the team synchronize and quickly identify problems. By the way, many startups take these stand-ups very seriously. Once at such a stand-up in Silicon Valley, a developer said, "My biggest obstacle is the coffee machine broke." Everyone quickly understood that this was task number 1 for the office manager, because no line of code is written without coffee. Increment. At the end of each sprint, the team must present a working, completed part of the product. This could be a new feature, an improvement, or a fix. Sprint review. The team demonstrates the completed increment to stakeholders, product owner, investors, even some customers. They gather feedback. Sprint retrospective. The team meets to discuss what went well, what could be improved in the work process, and how to become more effective in the next sprint. This is continuous self-improvement. Application in startups. Scrum is very popular in Silicon Valley and other tech hubs. It allows startups to quickly release new features, respond promptly to market changes, and maintain a close connection with user needs. Kanban. Visualizing the flow of work. Kanban, from Japanese for visual card, the signal board, is another Agile framework that focuses on visualizing work and managing the flow of tasks. It's less strict than Scrum and is well suited for teams that need more flexibility in managing priorities. Just imagine a board with columns: to do, in progress, done. Each task is a card that moves through these columns. Key Kanban principles. Visualize work. All tasks, their status, and responsible parties are visible on one board, physical or digital. This ensures full transparency. Limit work in progress, WIP. Only a limited number of tasks can be performed simultaneously at each stage of the process, column. This helps avoid overload, focus on completing tasks, and quickly identify bottlenecks in the process. Manage flow. The main goal is to ensure that tasks move smoothly and quickly from beginning to end. Continuous improvement. The team constantly looks for ways to optimize their workflow. Application in startups. Kanban is often used by teams where the task flow is not always predictable, e.g., customer support, bug fixing, content marketing, or where priorities can change frequently. It is also well suited for teams that want to start adopting Agile, but are not ready for Scrum's strict rules. Many startups use hybrid approaches, combining elements of Scrum and Kanban. Product development cycle, from concept to launch and back. Regardless of the chosen methodology, Agile, Scrum, Kanban, the process of creating a product, be it a physical good, service, or software, usually goes through certain stages. Think of it as the life cycle of any new offering in the market. Planning. What it is. At this stage, you define what needs to be created and why. This includes formulating the product vision, setting goals, in-depth market research for specific characteristics or functions, competitor analysis, refining the target audience, and formulating value hypotheses. For any startup, product discovery, product research, is actively used at this stage. Teams work with designers, researchers, marketers to deeply understand the user's problem before producing or providing anything. You use your buyer personas and idea validation results to form a clear product roadmap, a plan for the future development of your product or service. This is also where product requirements are drawn up, whether it's a specification for production, a service description, or software requirements, describing exactly what your new offering should entail. Tools: Miro/Mural for brainstorming and planning, Product Board for managing product backlog and roadmap, Jira/Asana for initial task setting and project management. Design what it is. At this stage, ideas are transformed into concrete, tangible concepts. Designers, industrial designers, UX/UI designers, service designers, create mock-ups, prototypes, and determine how the product will look, feel, and how the consumer will interact with it. For any startup, great attention is paid to user experience, UX, and user interface, UI, if applicable. Consumers expect intuitive, aesthetically pleasing, and convenient products and services. The design stage includes conceptual modeling, creating initial sketches, 3D models, service maps, or diagrams describing interactions. Prototyping, creating interactive models of a physical product, service, or digital interface. These can be physical cardboard mock-ups, service delivery diagrams, or interactive app chalk website mock-ups. This allows for testing the offering with real users before costly production or large-scale implementation begins. Usability testing, observing how users interact with prototypes, identifying difficulties, and collecting feedback to improve the design. Tools: Figma, Sketch, Adobe XD for digital products, SolidWorks, AutoCAD for industrial products, Miro Mural for service and process design, Maze, user testing for conducting usability testing. Development/production. What it is. At this stage, your idea begins to materialize. This is the moment when you actually create your product or organize the provision of your service. Whether it's a physical good, a unique service, or software, here, blueprints and plans turn into something tangible. For any startup, this stage is closely integrated with Agile methodologies. Teams work in short cycles, constantly creating and improving parts of their offering. Component creation and assembly. If you are developing a physical product, e.g., an innovative device, a new clothing line, or a food product, this involves manufacturing individual parts and then assembling them into a finished item. This could involve working with suppliers, setting up production lines, or even manual assembly of the first prototypes. Digital solution implementation. If your startup involves software or online services, this stage involves writing code, creating databases, setting up server infrastructure, and integrating systems. This includes working on both the user interface, what the customer sees, and the invisible logic that powers the service. Service development and standardization. For service startups, this means describing and implementing step-by-step procedures for providing a quality service. This could involve developing training materials, staff training, creating customer service protocols, and implementing systems for managing schedules and interactions. Operations management. This aspect covers all the processes necessary for your business to operate efficiently. It includes quality control at all stages of production or service delivery, supply chain management for physical goods, logistics, and monitoring the stable operation of all systems and processes. In the case of IT startups, DevOps engineers often fulfill this role, ensuring automated deployment and maintenance. Tools. The choice of tools depends on your startup's specifics. For physical production, ERP systems, enterprise resource planning for resource management, CAD systems for design, and various quality control tools in manufacturing may be used. For digital products, version control systems, e.g., Git for code, cloud platforms, AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, for infrastructure, various programming languages and frameworks. For service startups, CRM systems for customer management, training platforms for staff, scheduling systems, and tools for automating routine tasks. Testing what it is, checking the product or service for errors, compliance with requirements and declared quality, and usability. This stage is critically important for ensuring quality. For any startup, testing doesn't just happen at the very end of the process. In an agile approach, testing is integrated into every short development cycle. Quality assurance, QA. Quality assurance specialists develop test scenarios, find bugs, and verify that new features or characteristics work correctly and meet standards. Functional testing, verifying that all functions work as intended. Performance testing, checking how well the product service handles loads, e.g., a large number of users, production volume. User acceptance testing, UAT. Testing by real users, sometimes your first customers or beta testers, to ensure that the product or service meets their expectations and solves their problems. Tools, Jira for tracking bugs and tasks, TestRail for managing test cases, automated testing frameworks, Selenium, Cypress for software, specialized software for testing physical products or processes. Launch what it is. Releasing the product or service to the market. It's important to understand that this is not the end of the journey, but the beginning of a new cycle. After launch, you continue to collect feedback, analyze data, and plan for subsequent improvements. For any startup, launching an MVP is just the beginning. This is followed by continuous iterations, repeated improvements. Soft launch. Releasing the product or service to a limited audience, e.g., only for beta testers or in one city region, to gather feedback and fix last-minute bugs before a wider launch. A /B testing. testing different versions of a feature, function, or marketing message on different user groups to understand which one performs better. Feedback loops. Creating continuous channels for collecting feedback from users, surveys, customer support, social media, direct communication. Analytics. Collecting and analyzing data on how users use the product or service, how much time they spend, which features are popular, where users encounter difficulties, how often they make purchases, what the return rate is. Tools: Google Analytics, Mixpanel, Amplitude for digital products, CRM systems for tracking customer interactions and preferences, Hotjar for analyzing user behavior on websites, Intercom for communication with users and collecting feedback, specialized systems for data collection in retail or manufacturing. Why is this cycle important? This iterative approach allows startups to minimize risks. You don't put all your resources on one card, but gradually build up functionality or offerings, validating each hypothesis with real users. Adapt quickly. If the market changes, new trends emerge, or users express new needs, you can promptly change course without wasting years on development. Create a product service that is truly needed. You create something that genuinely solves your customers' problems because they actively participate in the process, giving you invaluable feedback. In the startup world, these methodologies and processes are not just a nice addition, they are the foundation of successful product development. They allow even small teams to effectively compete with giants by releasing innovative and in-demand products or services.